Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I tried doing a different intro, but it just didn't feel the same as me opening with hey guys. But today I decided to do as I've been requested quite a few times and show how I overhauled my HUD. It's been a while since I've done one of these. And mods that you might not see too often in my showcases because I usually have the HUD turned off, but they are there and they're downloaded and you guys usually end up asking once you see it. And it's quite a few. So if you want a complete HUD overhaul and to learn your HUD mods that all your favorite YouTubers are using, or me if I'm your favorite YouTuber for some reason, then this is the video for you. So let's dive right in. And also, don't forget to endorse mod authors. Okay, now let's dive in. Starting from basically zero, the first mod you're going to want to grab is MoreHud SE. I play on Special Edition, so I'm currently using the one in the optional files, but this mod expands on the HUD, adding much more information to objects you're currently aiming at, such as ingredients showing their effect outside of the inventory screen, or even weapons. This essentially takes information that you'd only get from the inventory after picking up the item, and places it on your screen the moment you look at it. It also shows enemy information, but honestly we have another mod for that coming up soon and it's pretty obvious. So next up to pair with this is MoreHud Inventory. It's just much more simple than the previous. It expands on item cards for enchanted items or just any items with effects such as food, so the text doesn't become super teeny because it is a lot of letters there. So it should technically be a lot easier to read now, unless you have an enchantment unlocker, so you have like 60 enchantments, then it'll still be small. Nonetheless, our next mod, which is Truehud, this is the mod I mentioned that will replace MoreHud enemy information. This mod with true directional movement, not part of the HUD, which is why I didn't include it, but once combined it gives you a lock-on function, and any character you're locked onto will display information, such as their level, or will be a soul gem showing what type of enemy they are, or even how much damage you deal. This mod essentially replaces floating damage, which has the same function, but this one doesn't clog up your screen. The bars will show their stamina, magicka, and also their poise bar before they are staggered. It also gives the player dynamic bars along with NPCs, but for the mod we use later we won't worry too much about those right now. You can either have these as always displayed, never displayed, or even dynamic so they only appear when something is being used. Up next is Compass Navigation Overhaul. This one makes the compass actually interactive. When aiming at map markers they will kind of pop out more and show just how far your destination is. Works for custom map markers, but it actually does this with all map markers in Skyrim. Even enemies, so paired with Truehud, it will kind of make it easy to find that last bandit that might have ran away, or if enemies are still chasing you. But the best part is what it does for the quest. Not only will it show how far the quest marker is from you, it will also show which quest you're currently tracking in a dynamic menu. And once you're close enough, you can look at the marker itself on the NPC or the door and it will also display the quest information. Moving on to our next mod, which is called Detection Meter. You can use Detection Meter NG if you're on next generation. This is simply a meter that will show your detection level. It won't even appear until people start to even see you because it starts off white and then turns red when you engage in combat. It's kind of impossible to ignore the meter. But next is Casting Bar. This one is just as simple. It adds a bar menu at the bottom of your screen so you don't have to guess when your spell is done if you're casting a concentration or master spell, or if your bow is fully drawn. Now the meter at the bottom, if it is fully charged, will tell you that it's ready. And for the people that I know might ask in the comments, this has nothing to do with gameplay, just visual and HUD, so it won't force you to charge all the way up before firing. It just lets you know where you're at. But if you want to take this to the next level, I highly advise to pair it with interesting casting bar. It gives every cast type a unique icon, such as when you cast master level spells, it will have a white rune at the bottom, or when you're using a bow, there's a new arrow icon at the bottom as well. But the coolest one is definitely the shout meter. I'm not sure what it says because some people can translate dragon tongue, but it is cool. And finally, for simpleness, we have the oxygen meter, the second version. It can't get more simple than this mod, honestly. The meter tells you when your character runs out of breath and when you're about to drown. You won't die as soon as the meter hits 0, it's just saying when you're out of breath. I don't think I've ever drowned before, but it is nice to tell how far my character can swim now. And because I know I'm going to get questions about it down in the comments, this is not a HUD mod, but we have the mod Strange Runes. It adds runes to every spell type in Skyrim with matching colors and also effects to go with them, with fire looking the best in my opinion. This mod has two settings though. There's the permanent ruins option, which means that as soon as you equip your magic, it will automatically start the ruins in either hand. And then there's the default option, which means that ruins will only activate when you cast magic, so you will see it appear and disappear while in combat. I definitely recommend to keep it the default option just so you can have a dynamic feeling to the magic. The higher the spell level, the cooler and bigger the ruin will become, with some being projected in front or on the side of your character. I know even with this video I'll still get asked about it, but moving on to more HUD mods. This one is for the crafting menus because this mod is called Constructible Object Custom Keyword. I can't really say the first part of that mod, but you can sound it out. This mod takes the crafting menus from being just a random assortment of items that you have to kind of sort your way through to find that custom mod that you just added. And actually adds categories and effectively puts all the items in a corresponding category based on their crafting material. It doesn't do it for upgrading menus, but it does do it for cooking menus. It just doesn't do it fully, so we need another mod for that, which is the mod Cooking Categories Improvement. This is just an add-on for the main mod, so cooking can be easier because now every food is categorized. At least this one doesn't have an acronym for a word that I can't say. But up next we have the mod Smoothcam. This is a big mod and this is for the people that play in third person. It smooths out the vanilla camera, so no more jittery mouse movement when you turn around or forced upward camera kind of ruining your view. You can fully customize how your camera is during pretty much every stage of movement, from walking, running, and even combat. You can also switch which side your camera is on, so if you have your camera pushed all the way to the right, you can now switch to the left to make it easier to snipe. Most people like to ask me what Smoothcam preset I use, which is Synergy by Sign, but I generally use the default one because they don't load until you save or your character dies. If you prefer to play in first person, then you have to use Improved Camera SE. This mod basically makes it useless to ever touch third person again. It's super simple to edit this mod to your liking. Just press Shift plus Home and then a menu pops up allowing for you to pretty much change everything with a certain option, even allowing you to enable third person animations in first person. So now you can pretty much see your character doing everything in first person and even your body while in first person. So you don't even have to go into third person to view your armor or your inventory. And for the people that do love OSTEM, this is the go-to mod for that now. There's even a preset setup when you install OSTEM. You can go in first person when crafting, sitting at furniture, or even now it unlocks riding in first person on a horse. This does unlock first person werewolf and vampire lord, but I didn't include that this time. Up next is the mod Better Third Person Selection. And even though it says third person, you can use this in first person as well. This mod with the MCM lets you configure how interacting with items in Skyrim work. You can even change it and make it so you can interact with items or pick them up or steal them while they're 20 feet away. So you really don't have to unlock doors anymore if it's inside of a dungeon. You can just grab it straight through the door. Or you can make your interaction range extremely small so it's within arm's reach. This also lets you filter how stealing works, so you can make it impossible to steal while being detected or just sitting in furniture. The perfect pairing mod is Oblivion interaction icon. It copies Oblivion style icons and adds them straight to Skyrim. So instead of just a simple activate button like E if you're on keyboard, it will show the new icons, which can definitely be a little immersive. You can also edit better third person selection to hide the activation button, so you'll only see Oblivion's icon and the item's name will appear, which is the best option in my opinion. The other stuff that you might be seeing is from MoreHud, which also lets you hide the information if you want. It would kind of defeat the purpose of MoreHud, but if that's what you want, it is possible. I just find it funny that most people didn't know better third person selection helps with filtering stealing. Up next, one of my more miscellaneous mods for the Deathcam that some people surprisingly ask me about, but this mod overhauls it. Is called Enhanced Deathcam. It's pretty simple. It just kind of unlocks the camera when you die so you can still look around. It also stops my character from twitching when they die, or maybe that was just a coincidence, but it definitely unlocks the camera. And now moving on to a mod that is called Menu Zoom. You can zoom in already on items in your inventory screen to inspect it, so this mod just expands on that, letting you zoom in on items in crafting menus now, so you can fully see what you're going to get before you waste all those ebony materials. As I said, it's just like the inventory function, so don't expect full displays of armors or HDT to be active when you turn it. It also does it for the magic menu, but honestly, it's not really useful for that because the magic usually doesn't have a reason to zoom in, but it is there. The crafting function is definitely the main attraction for this mod. Up next, overhauling the map, you have two options for this. I personally use a quality world map, Vivid, and Stone Road Edition. There's a few other, but this one is my favorite. This one clears up some of the fog to make it easier to see the landscapes, and also makes use of Skyrim's zoom function that not many people know about. So now you can kind of see the map and 3D effect applied to it. You can also use Skyrim paper map if you prefer. This is kind of most people's favorite, and I would definitely use this if I already knew everything about Skyrim, but sometimes I get stuck on mountains with this. But it is the best for a modern HUD. It does have one slight issue. You can't fully use this with compass navigation overhaul. Not completely, at least. They work together, no crashes happen, but it makes all custom map markers useless. They will be 9,000 feet in the air. I'm not entirely sure why, but I did ask the mod author of the Flat World Map Markers mod that is required for this one to work, but they said the mod will have to be completely remade for them to work together. So if you can ignore that and never use custom map markers, then you can use any of these flat world maps. The paper maps I recommend you use are all from the same mod author. I will refrain from saying their name though, because I usually mess up their name or just mispronounce it. So just out of respect I don't say it, but there are quite a few map variants on Skyrim. But if you use all the same ones from the same mod author, it should fit your playthrough better. Up next is the mod Subtitles. This is a fairly new one. This one makes it so Skyrim will display more than just one talking subtitle, because in vanilla Skyrim, only one displays at a time and is not always the one you're currently in a chat with, so sometimes you miss something. This mod doesn't really change that, but instead makes it so both can be on your screen at the same time. As far as my testing goes, this should work with all fonts on Skyrim and shouldn't break anything, but you want to make sure you have the requirements, which is address library. And now for a massive mod, we have Wheeler Quick Action Wheel. This mod takes inspiration from Red Dead Redemption and adds a menu that essentially replaces the favorite menu, letting you hotkey items from your inventory. To use this though, the default key is caps lock, and to change it, just press the home key, which brings up the D menu, which is a massive requirement. Once you do it, it kind of freezes your controls in the world, so you want to make sure you have the Wheeler menu pulled up first, and make sure you turn on autosave in the D menu, or you'll have to reload a save to see the changes. It's kind of complicated to use for a new modder, but once you get used to it, it's pretty simple. Like to add an item, all you do is press the hotkey that you used to pull up the menu in your inventory, and if there's no slots, you just press the M key, which is default, to add a slot, and then you just M1 to add the item. Up next, a mod I wasn't really sure I should showcase, but we have the mod Minimap, adding an always present local map in the form of a modern day minimap. It doesn't look too great because Skyrim's local map is terrible, and the reason I wasn't sure if I should showcase this is because there is a new minimap mod coming out, and I just hope it doesn't come out before this video. But there's two versions of this mod, which is the circle, the default version, and then there's the square version. The INI file says rectangle, but that's definitely a square. You can also change the location of it and size as well. But now for a new weight menu, overhauling the boring vanilla one, we have the new mod Modern Weight Menu, giving the weight menu a more cyberpunk or Witcher style weight menu, with cyberpunk being my favorite game of all time, honestly. But yeah, it's a pretty simple mod. There's multiple revisions for it and retextures for HUD mods, but we have an all-in-one coming up, so we don't really need any of those. The next part of this video is a mod showcase and a guide, and it's for the mod Dynamic Interface Patcher. I see that most people are afraid of this and avoid it, but it's so easy to set up. All you have to do is download Dynamic Interface Patcher. All versions work on all versions of Skyrim except the Game Pass version, and you just install it like a normal mod, just like my previous guide for Pandora Engine, because I've seen people were scared of that also. You want to open it up once you install it, and just grab the line address so that you can just copy and paste it rather than having to directly direct it, because that can get annoying. I still had an old version of Nemesis in the output version when I did this, because I had just switched from Nemesis when a new Pandora version came out, but you can ignore that last step. You won't have to do that. You also need to find a Dynamic Interface Patcher mod. You can just type dip into your Nexus search bar to find available ones, and you're going to install it like a normal mod also, just like the main mod. There's really no special steps after initial installation of Dynamic Interface Patcher. It's pretty simple. Once you install it, you won't have to open up the mod and grab the address link. You can just install it and enable it like any other mod. The original dynamic interface patcher, you did have to direct it, which was a little complicated for newer people, but somehow it pretty much does everything for you now. Once you start dip, make sure everything is correct, which it should be, and you just click run. It should be done in literal seconds, and now you should be good to go in game. And this is why I don't make videos for these. It takes literally 1 to 2 minutes. And now for the final mod, tying it all together, we have HUD, a complete overhaul of Skyrim's HUD, utilizing 90% of the mods I introduced in this video. And if you did everything right with the dip patch, if not, go rewatch the guide, you should have a new race menu like this. It was part of the original mod, but they separated it and made it a patch. I'm not entirely sure why, but I'm not gonna ask. The chat overlay has a patch for Dragonborn voiceover. It auto selects during installation of HUD, but do not use it if you don't have it, because your conversations will have long pauses. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this mod overhauls all the mods that I mentioned before, like compass navigation overhaul, well, the compass and map markers in total, applying new animated effects that were not previously there, as well as overhauling Truehud as well, because now bars for the enemies and your character will have a new stylish effect that fits HUD theme. This was changed to fit the new HUD player bars that are for Truehud. Originally they were a little more sleeker, but I guess it fits better like this. Honestly, if you can find a vanilla menu of this mod that hasn't been touched, I would honestly be surprised. Every menu was changed from the inventory to even the magic menu, which isn't too much different from the inventory menu, and that's the best part to me. But even the skills menu was changed to have a completely different feeling to it, and also new animated effects. And if you have other mods like static skill leveling rewritten, this mod also has a patch for that, and with experience, so you can get the level up menu. Do not use the original static skill leveling because that will break everything. This mod has really come a long way from when I was first testing it on his Patreon. It honestly didn't see a Nexus release for another year or so in my mind, but it still is a work in progress though. But so many patches for it are coming out already. Like, I believe this detection meter change wasn't made by the mod author itself, but by someone else, and it was a mod on Nexus for a short while, a while back, at least before it became part of the main mod. I currently don't use wheelers, so the favorite menu is something I see quite a lot with this mod. But the MoreHud part of it is a little more work. HUD is a preset set up in a MCM that you have to hit apply for, but it will look broken when you first apply it. The only way to make it load correctly is to save game after applying the preset, then closing your Skyrim and reopening entirely. Save and reloading doesn't work, unfortunately, but HUD is the main reason I don't hide the information from MoreHud. It's also where I get the modern wait time menu overhaul because that is provided as a patch when you install HUD, and it's why I don't use any other. I honestly don't really use modern wait menu alone unless it's with the HUD because I typically never have to wait or sleep in my game. They usually last a 1 hour playthrough. And that was pretty much it for today, guys. And that was how to make the ultimate HUD overhaul. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.